Welcome to another review video by Jay from rightsprite.co.uk. Well, I finally caved in and splashed out the cash and picked up the well received and much appreciated MClassic HDMI adapter. A bit steep for me, pushing around up to £100, an adapter that's been out for quite a while as well, but happy to finally pick this up. Now in this video, let's find out if it's still worth picking up in 2021 and find out which game console this actual adapter works best with. As I am new to this project, first things first, let's get into the unboxing. And we'll get into the benefits, enhancements and honest opinions with some juicy details later on in this video. First thing I have to mention is the packaging is very well done. It has a very high quality feel to it, very ensuring to the fact that you spilled that amount of cash in the first place. It will take me a while to get over that. While it does state at the back at the top of the description that PC gamers are able to upgrade their graphics card, whilst gaming consoles have been limited to not be able to do so, this stepping up to being the world's first graphics card processor for video game consoles. Though come on, I cannot accept it to actually improve frame rates, VSync or add in further shadows and 4K texture qualities with HDR in this tiny form factor of a HDMI adapter. Well, what's all this about then? Because they be some big words. Very intrigued of what this actual adapter can do. It also does state its compatibility, retro consoles being the one that caught my attention intensely, but basically anything with a HDMI output really works well with this. Further down it does show that it's 3 modes of operation. It comes with its very own unique red micro USB to give it the power that is needed, as well as a HDMI extender, which is pretty great in case you need it depending on your own setup. Overall, I'm very happy with this packaging and build. And of course it comes with some instructions in case you really want to dabble in that. Having a good close look now at this adapter, you are very ensured by the build quality is very nice with a metal shielding actual built-in case, and it does have a gold plated tip as well. There's the connectors for the HDMI out and the micro power in, and now on the left hand side you have the 3 switch modes. Processing off, so nothing will be actually included, it will just have a straight pass-through signal. Then you have the processing on, which is the upscale and anti-aliasing and sharpness on. Then you have the retro mode. So now let's jump into some captured footage of some selected recommended consoles I have set up for you guys. So let's jump straight into some action of the Wii U. I have to explain first, whilst I was capturing this will be shown in 1080p, even though the MClassic does support up to an output of 1440p, which is kind of a middle ground of 1080p and 4K. So not all TV and monitors do support this resolution. My LG TV does, which is pretty awesome, and a lot of monitors do support that really obscure resolution. So that is something to look into before picking this up and getting the most out of this adapter. A buddy of mine did actually let me borrow a more upgraded Elgato capture card, which actually captured in 4K, but my PC just absolutely buckled. So I know I'm actually due an upgrade if I can actually manage to do so in the near future. The content you are seeing now has the processing on. Another thing I do have to mention is due to how the video content is captured and then converted and then uploaded, the quality is slightly lost, which means the video actual footage coming out to my main TV, the quality actually does jump up a little bit further. With the processor now on, is adding the features, scaling, the depth of field with its more controlled color management, is image sampling with anti-aliasing on, and all this with actually no output video lag. If you're not too sure what anti-aliasing is just a quick example of what they provide on their website. So as you can see, the font is a bit sharper and a bit clearer. This is a bit more of an extreme example, but you do actually see results resemble like that throughout your actual gameplay. First of all, it is very noticeable when this feature is turned on, but don't expect a bit of a wow feature. It does look pretty awesome, and what you do experience is just really finely tweaked. With the anti-aliasing on, this really does step up the image quality, especially if you're using a big TV. A lot of the TVs that are out these days do include a feature of upscaling any video content connected to it. A lot of them ain't that great, so one thing I do recommend is turning off any of those features that you've got on your TV and let the MClassic do its job. When it comes to the Wii U console, it does support a 720p output on most of these games, as well as 1080p. with certain titles, and much like the previous generation of consoles like the PS3 and 360, some titles do support 1080p, but a lot of them are just upscaled to 1080p from that console and not rendered into 1080p. This is when the MClassic does jump up and do a pretty awesome job making those games pop up on your screen. So let's get into an example now with the MClassic actually off and unplugged on the left hand side of the screen, and then with the MClassic turned on with the processor all turned up on the right hand side of the screen. So immediately you may be thinking, I can't really tell the difference really, especially if you're watching this type of content on your phone, but if you're watching this on a bigger screen really. But let's have a good closer look now. With this image, this is with the processor off, and let's have a good closer look now on the edges of the actual characters itself. You can see the anti-aliasing is pretty decent already, you know, especially for the Wii U. But then when we look now with the MClassic turned on, you will see everything's a bit more smoother around the edges, and this actually applies that type of enhancement to all the video imagery. For example, with this type of style of video, it does have a cel shaded type of style of animation, and I did find the MClassic anti-aliasing does work very well with the actual style of art. But that's just one of my personal preferences. But let's have another closer look now with the MClassic turned off, and then have another closer look now with the MClassic turned on, and concentrate now on the actual housing and the actual chimney and the details in the background. Now let's head into the PlayStation 3, and now this is where it does even a better job. This is because of its original output and color management. The image is now slightly more vivid and clearer. That's because now it's bringing out those darker colors and whites, and just with that more better color management. As the console does not support any anti-aliasing natively, much like the Xbox 360, this now does give it a better upgrade than that of the Wii U and the 360. So now let's have a closer look now of the imagery and have a concentration around the character itself and the edges around the background objects. This is where the anti-aliasing is now doing an even better job. And with this then applied to entire content, it does really breathe into some fresh air into the system. So now let's jump back a generation and test some PlayStation 2 and Dreamcast outputs. Now with the PlayStation 2, it is a bit of a pain to work with, as always, and that's due to its output quality and the lack of support of 480p outputs on their games. Now as the PlayStation 2 does not have a HDMI output in the first place, you can get these HDMI adapters. I recently did cover a video where you can actually see which is the best affordable adapter to use and get the HDMI output there that is set at a good budget price with a simple plug and play feature. I will pop that up there now on the screen for you, and if you want to stick around with this video, you will always find that link in the description box below. The content that you are seeing is now set up with a 480p output, and that's because of the game actual does support that and the way I have set this up, and it does work pretty awesome with the MClassic, but you are extremely limited as most of the titles on that system only support a 480i signal, and that just basically punts through the MClassic as a pass-through. So basically there is no use for this adapter for that system. One way I managed to actually get around to actually get some features out of this is by connecting the level high HDMI adapter first, which has a 720p signal, and then plugging the adapter that way, which then enables the use of the MClassic to actually function. So it's very hard to advise this adapter to be used with your PlayStation 2 console. I have covered other videos in the past regarding how to set up your PlayStation 2 if you want to check out my other content. With the Dreamcast having a better video output to work with, games are now polishing up the best I have ever seen this console. Of course, it's not a massive leap of what you've heard from other YouTubers go on about with this device, but the jump is definitely there and more noticeable on my TV than what you see in this video, as what I explained earlier on about. But for the first time now, I can finally capture Dreamcast footage through HDMI more efficiently. As the resolution is boosted up, my capture card can now pick up the original signal. When I was using the level high HDMI adapter, it would just pass through the resolution, so my TV could actually accept that signal, but my capture card couldn't. So now there's a really nice jump in quality from when I previously used to capture my footage using a cheap generic VGA to HDMI adapter with a built-in upscaler. So now for just a quick comparison, you will see the VGA generic adapter capture footage on the left, and now you will see the level hike to the MClassic adapter on the right hand side of the screen. So for me personally now, this adapter has got as many worth. So now let's head a generation before with the classic Megadrive, one of my personal favourite consoles of all time. Now here was one console I was looking forward to testing this adapter. But again, the capture does not really do it much justice comparing what I actually see on the TV. And of course there's no HDMI on the actual Megadrive. I'm using the level hike HDMI adapter converter, which already does a pretty decent job already, upscaling it to 720p. If you are interested in getting more information about this product, I have done a dedicated video, and of course that will be in the description box below. There was no problem at all using this MClassic adapter for a 1989 console. In the video you may see only a slight improvement on the image quality, comparing it to what the original level hike was. But what I can tell you is that it kind of reminds me of if you were using an emulator and you would put a filter on using a high quality filter. It does add a little bit more sharpening to the image all around and rounding on the edges of each sprite, making the actual image pop out a lot clearer. Again, I did test this out on a Super Nintendo, generating the same effect using the SNES HDMI adapter. So when it comes to handling 2D gaming, it does actually generate a little bit more smoother and clearer image. Of course, there are many other adapters out there that give you different or even better or even worse results. This is just one I recently actually got into, and I'm very happy with the outcome. Now, if you're anything like me and you have a fair few consoles that are set up to your TV, here's an honourable mention of a multi-HDMI switch box I recently purchased to help benefit the use of the MClassic. The MRockio, I believe that's what it's called. This box hits that budget pretty nicely and has a similar build quality to that of the MClassic, with this metal casing, very compact design, and just generally a nice tidy build. This switch box is actually built a lot better than any other budget switch boxes out there. I'm very happy with this purchase, and with the MClassic then attached to the output, every console then will benefit of the actual MClassic itself. So I had to include this in this video. The purchase links can be found in the link below at the Right Sprite affiliate page. There's actually state on the website that it is capable of outputting a 4K signal. But you might be wondering, why aren't my games outputting that? Well, that is just because it actually outputs a video signal of 4K, because it only can output 4K at 30 frames per second. But a lot of the games do run at 60 frames per second, so that's why it caps at 1440p. So now with all this content and information and testing out all these consoles, is this adapter worth picking up in 2021? Personally, I can say yes, this is pretty awesome, especially now I can finally capture Dreamcast footage at a high quality video and audio. And also as it does tweak the image for all the other consoles. When it comes to what console this adapter works best with, I will personally say the PlayStation 3, and that is just because how it natively doesn't support anti-aliasing from the actual system itself. So the benefits do shine more brighter on that console. So I'm pretty excited now that I do own one of these. So what is the future for MClassic? Personally, it would be nice if there was a 4K 60 frames output and probably a couple of additions of settings. But personally, there is a pretty simple plug and play feature with this, with those actual features that are already needed. There's not much else it needs, but some additions will be nice in the future. So I did really enjoy making this video for you guys. If there's any questions you want to ask, just hit me in the comment box below. And as always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of content, hit that like button. If you want to help support, click subscribe, leave the comments below, and I'll catch you lot on the next video.